I put this engine together and it's got a noise that is a little bit louder than normal, and I'm gonna go ahead and call it abnormal. Although some of these are louder than others, I'm gonna go ahead and start this one up for you and let you listen to it. And then pretty loud. It almost sounds like an exhaust leak from the injector to me. It sounds like it's coming from the intake camshaft, I believe. I can hear it right up in here, but the noise is kind of transferring somewhere around here. So I'm just gonna take it apart and figure out what it is. My guess is these, let's see here, it's 4 valve per cylinder. We got 4 rocker arms on each cylinder. It is possible that one of the rocker arms somehow fell over and it's not rolling or broke. I am putting a lot of times, I don't buy new rocker arms. I typically put in the old ones, pretty much in every case. And sometimes if you're not careful, if you don't inspect every single one perfectly, it could have had a fracture or damage from previous valve collision whenever it comes out of time. But I don't necessarily think that's the case here. I'm leading towards thinking it's the camshaft. Just so you know, the engine's still together, and I'm talking about this before I'm taking it apart, so you can gauge on. Just so you can tell, the old sealant looks like this. So I'm not putting it back together and fixing it and then this is my real opinion before I take it apart. I'm thinking it's the intake camshaft itself, but I've never had experience with a ticking noise like that with just the intake camshaft. I'm hoping it's something. I mean, it could be a lifter for all I know. It's just not filling up for some reason. We'll see if I find something. Those are my guesses. It's either, I think it's something in the valve train at the top of the engine and the intake. So what has to happen is this cam tray has to come off. So I have to pin the tensioner. I have to take the timing chain off the cylinder head, off the cams. I have to take this vacuum pump off, this high pressure fuel pump off, of course, all the wiring and some hoses. And it's really not a fun job. Let's just proceed and do it. Step 1, airbox. Did you see that drop? I did. What was it? See, it's missing. It's down there in the splash pan, but we're gonna get that off anyway. Little safety clip. We're gonna go ahead and get this oil pressure sensor connector off. Stick our hand in here, and then it's tucked behind this coolant hose. So we'll pull it through there. Be careful with this, you don't want to pull your wiring. Anytime you have a dipstick, if you're working around it or doing anything with it, it's always a smart idea to pop it out and lay it to the side. Now put it somewhere where you're gonna not forget it though. Like for instance, if I'm gonna be working, it's just something easy that you can forget. You either put it like hanging off your toolbox right where you turn around, or you put it like tuck it off to the side somewhere where it's not going to drop in the engine bay or something. It's probably best to like put it right, I don't know, somewhere where you can put it. Just the thing is, I'm talking about it way too much. Don't lose your dipstick. The next step will be removing the oil filter, and the oil filter is still brand new. So if you have one of these oil filter removing little triangle ratchet tools here, and then it works really well, so you don't have to buy all those little individual cups. And just by simply removing this oil filter, we have so much more room to work on this thing. It should be removed every single time you try to do anything around here. So let's put this to the side. If you've ever had an engine apart or you're inspecting something or like a weird noise or something, it's always a good idea to take a visual inspection of the oil. And in this case, I don't need to do anything more complicated than this. The oil's perfectly clean, no signs of any metallic flake. To remove said oil filter, you want to take a clean shop rag, preferably a lint-free shop rag. This one is one of those shop towel, paper towels, and I won't like wipe my hands on it like once before, so it didn't have any dirt on it, just a little bit of oil. Tuck that all the way into there. It's okay if it soaks the oil up. That'll just hold it in there better. We've done all this before, so skip ahead if you'd like, but please don't, because just hang out with me, please. I'll try to make things fast. We'll zip these out, and then these here, you get these with 10 millimeter. These two right here you can get with 10 millimeter. Actually, let's just try to do this fast. That's not advisable. Well, let's go back to the slow tool. And then you see you have to put your finger on it, so I'm just gonna have to, we gotta just do like this. You just roll it out like that with your fingers. You know, you can stick your bit in there and put one of your fingers on the end of it, and then you can take your other fingers. Let me see if I can set the phone down. Probably not. And then go in here like this and roll it like that. Friends, this is the intake camshaft magnetic adjuster, and I'm just carefully taking a flathead screwdriver back here because all it takes is just a little pry action and this thing pops right out. It's just got that deal right there that pops out with the solenoid. Now there is two of these we can get like this without the 10 millimeter. We can go ahead and zip that one out, and then we can sneak this one in here past that oil dipstick tube. Now there's one more down here on this oil dipstick tube. We don't have to get this one all the way out because it is pretty tricky to get it back in. Not really when you have the oil filter out, but let's take our bit and pop it back in our tool. Remember, this is our Easy Red. It's got a quarter drive on one side and it's got the bit driver on the other. And for applications like this, it works really handy to sneak it down in there, even though it's a little bit tricky to get located. So then we can just, it's already busted loose. I just gotta get my hand down there and help it like I did with the other one. When the wrench is on it and when it's busted loose, this has a thumb wheel on it. So if you can get your hand in there, you just work the thumb wheel a little bit. And we're only gonna get this bolt out about halfway. And if you can see, I dropped my tool because I'm sitting here recording for you. If you didn't know, I really don't enjoy this. I'm doing this for the money. You know, I'm not doing it to get famous. Obviously, that's not even going to be anything that would ever happen anyway. But help me out with a like and a subscribe and all that kind of stuff, because I don't want to be doing this, and I won't be doing it if I don't see results. So let me see if this can jam in there. I typically like the one with the slender battery because it fits in there better, but you guys like to watch me struggle with stuff, right? I mean, that's the funnest part, is watching failures and struggles. If everything went perfect all the time, it wouldn't be Naptown Tuner Garage. So let's see my predicament here. We got this tube is in the way, and we just got like such a little amount of, I mean, it so almost didn't fit that I just jammed it in there. Now let's see if we can do the same thing for this second one, because this one's looking just a little bit more ominous down here. If we can just jam it right up in here, the battery is probably going to give us problems like I was just telling you. But see this? I'm just going to go for it with a full send. Come on now. So what I have to do in this case is I have to get speed going. Then I have to jam it on with speed to get that impact action. Come on now. see what I'm working with. Well, I wish I could show you, but see, with the working with one hand, it really pisses me off because I know I could do it in 2 seconds with both hands. Now we got to get it in time, and then we got to pin the tensioner. So let's lift it up and take the splash pan off. Take the splash pan off, and what you want to do next is you want to take that little cover off there, and if I zoom in here, you can see. Take a close look right there, that metal piece. That's the pin for the tensioner. So I got the tensioner pinned already, and I didn't show you on purpose, just because I'm mad at YouTube for slowing my views down. Either that, or it's because I've been talking about political stuff, like how I think that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are put in there with a fraudulent election system, and we're leading towards a one world government with a different kind of money system. And did I mention that this right here, I already got it loose, apparently. That's why that tool was up there, but I did that off camera. And then we can slide that out, and then of course, since I'm only using one hand, it hits the ground. And now that part right there is questionable, because that's a pretty tricky part. As you've seen in one of my last videos, a little tiny spring was missing out of one. Probably have to replace that now. Remember this 10 triple square? So this one's reverse thread, remember that, and then everything else is back to normal. The only other reverse thread thing on this car, see, this is broken. This goes bad almost immediately. This little tiny locking trigger mechanism, you could trade one in every time the tool truck guy comes, but eventually he's gonna get mad at you. What was I saying earlier? Reverse thread stuff. There's this that's reverse thread, and then there's that water pump bolt back there that's reverse thread. So mind your business. Then we got the T30s in here, 6 of them. Skip ahead, and I took this camshaft bridge and slid it straight off after I took those 6 bolts out and laid them right here. And then I unclipped all of these. Do you know what these are? These are the exhaust changeover solenoids for your weird, stupid TFSI camshaft for the exhaust. At first I thought it was cool, but now it's just gimmicky. I'd rather have the reliability of just a single cam lobe. I don't really care. Now, let's, you know what else is gimmicky? 5 valves per cylinder. You don't need all that. But for some reason, Audi messed with it. Now, did you see that? That was my... Apparently, I didn't do it good enough, maybe. It's a good idea to start them off, not just do all of them, and then it's a good idea to do it like 2-stage at least. So that's how you unclip all your connectors without breaking any of these, because if you stick your grubby little thumb in there and try to pry on it, you're going to pop it off. And then we're going to unclip this. What we got to do is we got to take this vacuum pump off, and I think I'm just going to take it off the easy way by keeping, well, I got to take the pump out. See, I'm just not going to show you all this because I'm just not feeling it this time. This nut loose back here on this fuel pump before we unbolt it. So usually all it takes is just that little bump, and then you can try to zoom for you. Get your fingers in here and unscrew it. And then you can even just leave the fuel line still in. I'm just gonna, you see we got the triple square 10 right here. I'm gonna get the difficult one first, which is down here in this corner pocket. And I gotta break it loose real quick. Boy, I tightened that on there pretty good. Sometimes I over torque stuff. Unfortunately, I am taking this back apart. I don't even know how many of these apart. And I haven't had that kind of noise probably ever. Oh man. I thought I broke my ratchet on that one. Did you hear? I used both hands on this little guy. Trying to dance the bolt out. You just take it like this and pop it out, and then pop it loose right here. Get this wiring harness out and push it underneath here without breaking anything. And then there's one more clip right here without breaking that. And then there's one more clip right here without breaking that. And you can just set it all the way over there. There we go. Stay. I'm just going to take this breather off and that vacuum pump off. Well, all I had to do was take this breather assembly off, and I found what was going on. The rocker arm is twisted over, which that was one of my guesses, and I've got a little bit of damage on this camshaft lobe. I don't know if it's enough, because it's on a roller rocker. It looks like it's got enough to still be fine, but I'll take a straight edge across it and see how much marring that is, if that's more of just cosmetic damage or if that's actually took some away. It looks more like just cosmetic damage, but I can definitely tell that there's not very good light, but I can definitely tell that rocker arm somehow got pushed over a little bit. See, it's not exactly fully on there, so I'm gonna have to see if it might have been previously damaged and I just didn't catch it. That's probably what happened. Now, I gotta sell this car, so I wasn't gonna sell it with the noise like this. I was thinking about, it was just too loud, but I mentioned maybe I should just let it go and see what happens, but that was only because I thought maybe it was this adjuster or like a lifter that wasn't filling up. But in all reality, that was kind of a joke, because I wouldn't ever let this car go. Unless I was keeping it for myself, I wouldn't ever pass something on that I knew something was going on with. So you definitely have to address something like that before, especially since I'm doing videos. But we're gonna pop this off now. Did I get all the bolts? I thought I got them all. Oh, no, there's one more. Look at that. It's hiding in that little oil bath. I know there's a procedure that I was supposed to follow, and if I would have done the procedure perfectly, I wouldn't have missed it. But, I'm a rebel, especially when it comes to not following the service manual. Be careful pulling that off. And now, let's see what kind of situation we're in. Look at that. The ear of that rocker is missing. It probably had I don't know if it probably had a hairline crack in it or something, and it just didn't catch it. But man, that was an expensive mistake. I'll put a magnet around in there to see if I can get the little tiny piece, the sliver that's missing. But if it fell down in there, I'll never get it. It's in the bottom of the oil pan. I'm not worried about it. It's not going to mess anything up. That sliver had to have been so tiny. But I am going to change this rocker and this lifter and put it back together after I check that cam lobe and make sure I can save the cam. See, I cleaned it up pretty good there, and the tensioner is pinned, so if I can somehow get this thing in here and just kind of gently lay it on top there, and then kind of just work the wiring harness around like that. And then we're gonna gently ram jam this cam tray on, because we're not trying to disturb anything. You know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to set the camshafts, which I didn't want to have to do. If you didn't know what that was me adjusting these lobes to where they're not all the way up on the side, which that one is a little bit, but with that one, we can just move it up a little bit. But you see, now I can take this cam tray and if I set it on top here, see it's on this wiring harness right now. You have to be very gentle when it goes to touch the camshafts though, like right here in this corner. We're just going to gently put it in place. But you know, we just need both hands. We really do for this. All right, folks, it's time to play the game. Everybody's favorite game. First, we already played it. It's what's wrong with it? Can we fix it? We think we answered both of those questions. The third question is, did we fix it and will it run right? I mean, that's technically the same question. But we're gonna answer it right now because we're gonna start the car and it's gonna run really good. It's not gonna tick anymore. Whoa! And just like that. Just like that, she's purring like a kitten, but I think I need to rev her out. I pulled it outside and gave it a couple quick revs, and the exhaust is butter smooth now. You can always tell a good running engine by a perfect exhaust. It's just seamless like a sewing machine.